Hi, I'd like to share with you some of my favorite lures for fishing for striped bass. I grew up here in Northern California and fished a lot around San Francisco Bay, and every year I kind of follow the striped bass as they migrate out the Golden Gate Bridge. They go out to the ocean every summer. They go all the way down to Monterey and up to Half Moon Bay and Pacifica, and then they come through the Golden Gate Bridge. They go into the Delta system around September, October, and then they head up the rivers that feed the Delta system, the San Joaquin and Sacramento rivers. But anyways, these are the lures that I've used. We have a few lakes in Northern California that also, or reservoirs that hold striped bass as well. But these are the lures I use, and I think it'd be kind of interesting. It'll kind of be going down memory lane for me. The striped bass fishing isn't quite as good as it used to be in the 80s, but this is what we used back in the day. So, yeah, the hair raisers were really good, real popular back then. This is the Bass Buster hair raiser. It worked good. Bucktail jigs, white bucktail jigs always worked well, as well as lipless crankbaits. This is the old blue back, silver sided cotton cordell spots. This is a 3/4 ounce size. We also used the half-ounce size, but day in and day out, this 3/4 ounce size was the one to use. 20-pound test. We would use these around current. You had to have current, but we'd fish it around rock walls and jetties and pilings, bridge pilings, and yeah, they work really well with the hair raisers. We'd throw those out and just use long sweeps of the rod, quickly reel in the slack, and just work it back just like that, right? And then with the lipless crankbaits, we'd throw those out, just use a medium fast retrieve, and they'd really slam them pretty good. All right, so those were the two main ones that we used in the South San Francisco Bay. We used to fish from like the San Francisco airport to the San Mateo Bridge. All right. Other areas or other lures that I've used in the Delta system were also these type of bucktail jigs. This is a 5/8 ounce banana head, small stout hook, short shank. A little bit of saltwater Flashabou tied in. This was a good one. We used it, fished it in two ways. One was in some of the shallow bays in the Delta. The water's kind of brackish in the Delta, so it's not really fresh water. It's not salt water. So, but the fish would sometimes go into these shallow bays, and when they do that, they would hang around these isolated weed patches. And when the current would flow in and out, we'd go around those kind of current breaks and just use a straight retrieve and in about 5 to 6 feet of water, and those stripers would hit it if they're in the shallow water like that. Also around some of the Tule Islands, it worked the same. If the fish were deeper, sometimes along the rock levees there'd be some drop-offs. We'd fish those a little deeper. We'd cast it out and work it more towards the bottom, let it hit the bottom and then just jerk it up and just let it fall back down. And when it falls down, boom, that's when they'd hit it. All right. Another thing that we did was fly fish for stripers in the Delta. And same thing, the Delta is all about spots and about finding their dinner tables and being at the right place at the right tide. The tide was really important. And, so we use these deceivers. I'd use two colors, basically. This one has a little chartreuse tied into it, yellow with a chartreuse on the back a little bit, and then some blue, and then a little bit of flash in there. And likewise with this one here, chartreuse and white, similar to this jig here, flash, and then chartreuse and white. Okay. Those both were really good. I kind of lean towards this one here. It's the yellow one. It's a good color. All right. So moving to topwater lures, in the Delta, this one really produced well for us. It's a Super Spook, you know, the Super Spook. Any type of walking topwater lure, this one's made by Strike King. You know, they just walk side to side. This has a nice rattle in it. If you want, you could stop it from rattling by drilling a small hole in the top and then putting some super glue in there to stop the rattles from moving around, and then put some super glue to close it up along with some baking soda. Use some baking soda and just rub it on top, and that will seal it all up and make it silent. So if you want a silent one, that's great. If you want something that knocks real loud, then just use it as is. Also, glide baits work well. I really like this one. It's a mackerel pattern. I really like blue back or mackerel colored patterns for striped bass. You know, I think that anytime that you use something that is nutritious to a fish, you know, like sardines or anchovy. This is something that looks like an anchovy, something real shiny. I think that's a good choice. You know, big fish get big for a reason. You know, I don't think they're not stupid. They know what a steak is. Like we know what a steak is, and you know they know what a mackerel tastes like. So just give them what they want, right? So I use a lot of blueback lures, and I'll describe later why I do that, or mackerel patterns. All right. So off the surf here in Pacifica, specifically in Pacifica, where the beaches aren't quite as steep as other beaches, we use these Mickey jigs. This is a S14. It has a little S14 stamped on there. It's the S14 mold, and I think it's about maybe 3 ounces, or maybe a little less than 3 ounces. But this works really well. It kind of has this type of action in the water, and you cast these a mile. You know, I use a long surf rod, graphite surf rod, and I use a Newell. It's a model P229F, and it has an aluminum spool. It's the old school one, but that one really casts really well. The new ones, they have a graphite spool, but the older ones with the aluminum spool, they really cast these out really far. I could cast these about 100 yards or so offshore. And yeah, these work really well. And I caught a 31-pound salmon off the beach on this one, as well as a 25-pound striped bass. And then I caught a lot of schoolie and smaller salmon on these as well. So that's a good one. This is another one. This is custom made though. It's crocodile, but a heavy version of a crocodile spoon. But this works well too. It has a little wider action, and sometimes this catches the wind when you cast it, so it doesn't cast quite as well as the Mickey jig. Some guys are painting them, you know, kind of a bright green, and also using this when it's kind of cloudy or overcast. All right. If you go further south, you know, you have San Francisco Bay, the Golden Gate Bridge, and then you have Pacifica just south of that, and those beaches there. But if you go further south, there's Half Moon Bay, and then you go further south yet, there's Monterey. And every year the stripers come out, they go down to the Monterey beaches, and they kind of come up. All right, and then so along the beaches around Half Moon Bay, the beaches are a little different. They're a little deeper, steeper, and they have like a trough, so they would come down and then they'll break off. And a lot of times the stripers will hang in the first or second waves, the first and second breakers. And in that case, you could use something like this, a 7-inch Rebel. These are old school, you know, but there's a lot of newer ones. They have these style, and they also have some of the popular ones are like the Bomber Long A's, the saltwater versions that are long like this, about 7 inches long. And then they have, you know, Daiwa SP minnows, you know, any type of, you know, swimming bait that looks like a smelt or some sort of bait fish. You could cast these out and just hold it and work it real slow through the first and second breakers. And a lot of times if there's fish holding in the trough, you can kind of hold your rod there, and as the tide recedes or the water recedes, it's enough resistance to just keep this thing swimming like this, right? And they'll just slam it. All right. So other options are topwaters, like pencil poppers. These work well, especially when the stripers are chasing anchovies and busting them and coming in really shallow to the beaches. That's really exciting when that happens. The birds are really working on them, and you can just cast this out in there, and it's kind of chaotic, but yeah, you just use a pencil popper and just work it right behind the waves as they come in, and boom, they would hammer it. We actually used to use larger versions of this. They're 15, 16 inches long and about 2 inches or in diameter. They're really heavy versions, much larger. Yeah, these will work. I mean, you can just cast it out there and do well with these. Those are the good old days. You know, nowadays you don't really get those type of runs that you used to have back in the 80s. Anyways, these are all good lures. These will work as well in some of the reservoirs, you know, or areas where there's stripers. This is the old fish trap style swim bait, you know, 1/2 ounce. And then you could use even these style hollow body swim baits, money minnows, money minnows. They have the same type of swimming tail, right? So I like blue and white, you know, with a little bit of flash in it, or I think it's always a good choice. You know, as you can see, you know, mackerel colors, you know, blue and white is always a good color. So let me kind of expand on that a little bit. You know, if you ever fish in Mexico or any saltwater, for any saltwater species, a lot of the lures are blue and white, and I think it's for a reason. You know, blue and white is really a good color. Not only is the water clean and Baja, and you want kind of a translucent light color, there's something about blue that really is a good color for a saltwater species. I used this fly, and I caught a 36-pound Dorado on it. But a lot of the lures that you use, even for tuna, are blue and white, like a cedar plug, or even, you know, they have the larger saltwater Rapalas that are kind of mackerel colored, have a blue back on it. So I kind of carry, you know, what I've learned from that to all saltwater species. In particular, you know, I've caught a personal best 25-pound striper on this one, and I've also seen my brother catch a large 20-pound salmon on a mackerel-colored diving plug in the ocean. So, you know, there's a reason why, you know, I think these larger fish, you know, prefer blue and white, or blue and silver, or something with a little bit of flash in it with blue. I think it's hard to go wrong with something, you know, with a little bit of blue in it. All right, so anyways, I hope that helps. You know, these are just my experiences and lures that have really worked well for me. And hopefully it helps. All right, take care.